Kendrick Johnson, a 17-year-old student at Lowndes High School, was found dead in January 2013 inside a gym mat rolled up in his school in Georgia, USA. Initially classified as an accident, the case gained notoriety due to the subsequent controversy. During a second autopsy, it was discovered that his organs had been removed and his body filled with newspaper. The discrepancies between the official conclusions and the findings of the independent autopsy, along with unexplained circumstances, turned this tragedy into one of the most enigmatic and disturbing cases in the United States, dividing opinions between tragic accident or possible covered-up homicide. On January 11, 2013, Kendrick Johnson's body was found in an inverted position inside a rolled-up gym mat, placed vertically behind the bleachers in the gymnasium of Lowndes High School in Valdosta, Georgia. His disappearance had been reported by his parents the night before, when he did not return home. According to investigations, Johnson was last seen alive walking quickly toward the area where the mats were stored, shortly before 1:30 p.m. on January 10, 2013. The discovery of Kendrick Johnson's body raised immediate questions among students and staff at Lowndes High School. His position inside the rolled-up mat, combined with the absence of visible injuries consistent with a struggle, left many baffled. The gym mats were routinely stored upright, and investigators theorized that Kendrick may have reached into the mat to retrieve a shoe and accidentally fallen in head first. However, this explanation did little to satisfy his family, who believed there was more to the story than a tragic accident. As the investigation unfolded, details emerged that deepened the mystery. Surveillance footage from the school showed Kendrick entering the gym alone, but did not capture him leaving. This gap in the timeline led to speculation about what might have happened during those missing moments. Furthermore, questions arose regarding the thoroughness of the initial investigation, including why certain areas of the gym were not immediately secured or searched for additional evidence. The morning Kendrick's body was discovered, the gym was bustling with students attending an early class. A group of them noticed the rolled-up mat and a pair of feet sticking out from the top. The scene quickly turned chaotic as teachers were alerted and the authorities were called in. The sight of Kendrick's lifeless body, upside down and wedged tightly into the mat, left many in shock. Whispers spread through the school like wildfire, with students speculating on what could have led to such a bizarre and tragic end. When investigators arrived, they began piecing together the events leading up to Kendrick's death. The gym mats were known to be used by students to store personal items like shoes and gym gear. It was theorized that Kendrick had leaned into the mat to retrieve his shoe, but had slipped and become trapped. However, this explanation did little to quell the growing unease among his classmates and family. The absence of clear evidence of a struggle or foul play raised questions, but it also left room for doubt about whether the incident was truly accidental. Kendrick's parents, Jackie and Kenneth Johnson, were vocal from the start about their doubts regarding the official explanation. They couldn't reconcile the idea that their son, a skilled athlete, would accidentally fall into a mat and be unable to free himself. Their suspicions grew when they learned that the school's surveillance footage had gaps, with crucial moments missing. This raised questions about whether the footage had been tampered with or if there was more to the story than authorities were willing to admit. The family's determination to uncover the truth led them to hire an independent pathologist for a second autopsy. The findings were shocking. Kendrick's death was attributed to blunt force trauma, not a positional asphyxia as initially reported. Even more disturbing was the discovery that Kendrick's internal organs were missing, replaced with crumpled newspaper. This revelation added a sinister layer to an already perplexing case, fueling speculation of foul play and a potential cover-up. Despite the official conclusion of accidental death, Kendrick's family refused to accept the findings. They believed the evidence pointed to foul play and began pushing for a deeper investigation. Their suspicions were fueled by discrepancies in the case, including the missing organs and the newspaper stuffing in Kendrick's body. These details, along with gaps in the surveillance footage and unanswered questions about the timeline, led many to believe that something sinister had occurred. The Johnsons argued that their son's death was not only suspicious, but that it had been deliberately covered up. The case gained national attention as activists, journalists, and legal experts joined the call for justice. Social media campaigns amplified the family's pleas, with hashtags demanding transparency and accountability from authorities. Public pressure eventually led to federal involvement, but even then, the investigations failed to provide definitive answers. The lack of conclusive evidence left Kendrick's family and supporters frustrated as they continued to fight against what they perceived as systemic failures and possible corruption. The discovery of Kendrick's missing organs became a focal point in the case, sparking outrage and speculation. The funeral home responsible for preparing his body claimed that the organs were likely discarded by the medical examiner during the autopsy, a practice they described as not uncommon. However, this explanation did little to ease public suspicion. The use of newspaper as a filler was widely criticized as disrespectful and unprofessional, further eroding trust in the authorities handling the case. For Kendrick's family, this was not just negligence. It was evidence of something far more sinister. As media coverage intensified, so did public interest in the case. Activists and independent investigators began digging into the circumstances surrounding Kendrick's death, uncovering inconsistencies in witness statements and procedural gaps in the initial investigation. The Johnsons alleged that key evidence had been mishandled or ignored, including bloodstains near the gym mats that were never tested. These revelations fueled theories of foul play and institutional cover-up, with many questioning whether race or social status played a role in how the case was handled. The re-examination of Kendrick Johnson's case in 2021 brought renewed hope to his family, but the results were far from satisfying. The sheriff's office maintained the original conclusion: Kendrick's death was a tragic accident. This decision reignited public outcry, with many accusing local authorities of failing to address key inconsistencies and allegations of foul play. For Kendrick's parents, the report felt like yet another dismissal of their concerns, leaving them no closer to the answers they had sought for nearly a decade. As the years passed, Kendrick's story became a symbol of systemic failures in justice and accountability. Activists continued to push for transparency, citing his case as an example of why reforms were necessary in forensic investigations and law enforcement oversight. Despite multiple investigations and official reports, the lingering questions about missing evidence, unexplained injuries, and procedural gaps kept the case in the public eye. For many, Kendrick Johnson's death represented not just a personal tragedy, but a broader call for change. The controversy surrounding Kendrick's death has left an indelible mark on his family and the broader community. Despite the passage of time, his parents remain steadfast in their belief that justice has not been served. They have organized marches, spoken at rallies, and even filed lawsuits against those they believe are responsible for mishandling the case. For them, Kendrick's death is not just a personal tragedy, but a rallying cry for systemic change in how investigations are conducted and how marginalized communities are treated by law enforcement. The case has also become a flashpoint for discussions about racial inequality and institutional bias in America. Many activists have pointed out that Kendrick's status as a young black man may have influenced how his case was handled or mishandled by authorities. The persistent questions about missing evidence, gaps in surveillance footage, and the removal of Kendrick's organs have fueled allegations of negligence or deliberate cover-up. For those following the case, it is a stark reminder of the challenges faced by families seeking justice in a system that often seems stacked against them. The chilling details of Kendrick Johnson's case continue to haunt those who have followed it over the years. His parents, Jackie and Kenneth, have become relentless advocates for justice, refusing to let their son's story fade into obscurity. They've held vigils, organized protests, and spoken publicly about the pain of losing Kendrick under such mysterious circumstances. For them, the fight is not just about uncovering the truth. It's about ensuring that no other family has to endure the same unanswered questions and institutional failures. Kendrick's death has also sparked broader conversations about accountability in forensic investigations and systemic bias in law enforcement. The discrepancies in his autopsy reports, the missing organs, and the gaps in surveillance footage have fueled public distrust in the agencies involved. Activists have pointed to his case as a stark reminder of how marginalized communities often struggle to find justice within a system that seems stacked against them. For many, Kendrick Johnson is more than a victim. He is a symbol of the ongoing fight for transparency and equality. The Johnson family's relentless pursuit of answers has inspired a wave of advocacy and awareness about similar cases. Across the nation, Kendrick's name has become synonymous with the fight for justice and transparency, particularly in cases involving young black men. His parents have channeled their grief into activism, urging communities to hold institutions accountable and to demand thorough investigations when lives are lost under suspicious circumstances. For them, Kendrick's story is not just a personal tragedy, it's a call to action. As the years go by, the unanswered questions surrounding Kendrick's death continue to weigh heavily on those who followed the case. Theories of foul play, institutional negligence, and even conspiracy remain topics of heated debate. Yet amidst the uncertainty, one thing is clear. Kendrick Johnson's life and untimely death have left an enduring legacy. His story serves as a painful reminder of the importance of seeking truth, no matter how difficult or uncomfortable it may be. The unresolved nature of Kendrick Johnson's case has left a lasting impact on the community and beyond. For many, it is a stark reminder of how systemic issues within law enforcement and forensic investigations can hinder the pursuit of justice. The unanswered questions about his death, ranging from the missing organs to the gaps in surveillance footage, continue to fuel speculation and distrust. For Kendrick's family, these unresolved details are not just anomalies, they are evidence of a deeper failure to properly investigate and address their son's death. Even as time passes, Kendrick's story remains a focal point for discussions about accountability and reform. His case has inspired other families facing similar tragedies to speak out and demand answers. The Johnsons' unwavering determination to uncover the truth has turned their personal tragedy into a broader movement, one that challenges institutions to do better and to ensure that no family is left without closure. Kendrick Johnson's legacy is not just one of loss, but also of resilience and the relentless fight for justice. The reopening of Kendrick Johnson's case in 2021 reignited public interest, but it also reopened old wounds for his family. Sheriff Ashley Polk, who led the renewed investigation, ultimately upheld the original conclusion of accidental death. He described the incident as a strange accident and stated that no evidence pointed to foul play. However, for Kendrick's parents and supporters, this report felt like yet another dismissal of the glaring inconsistencies and unanswered questions surrounding his death. The findings did little to quell the suspicions of those who believed that Kendrick's death was not an accident, but a deliberate act. Despite the official stance, the Johnson family continued to push for justice, refusing to accept the conclusions presented by law enforcement. They argued that too many details in the case defied logic. The missing organs, the newspaper stuffing, and the gaps in surveillance footage were just a few of the elements that fueled their doubts. For them, these were not coincidences or oversights. They were signs of a deeper cover-up. As they fought to keep Kendrick's story alive, their determination became a rallying cry for others seeking justice in similar cases. The Johnson family's fight for justice has not been without its toll. Over the years, they have faced backlash, legal challenges, and emotional exhaustion, yet they remain resolute. Their persistence has kept Kendrick's case in the public eye, ensuring that his story is not forgotten. For them, every march, every interview, and every petition is a step toward uncovering the truth. Despite the obstacles, their unwavering determination serves as a testament to the lengths a family will go to seek justice for a loved one. Kendrick Johnson's case has also highlighted the power of community and collective action. Activists, journalists, and supporters from across the country have rallied behind the Johnsons, amplifying their calls for accountability. Social media campaigns have played a significant role in keeping the case alive, with hashtags and viral posts bringing attention to the unresolved questions surrounding Kendrick's death. This collective effort has turned Kendrick's story into more than just a local tragedy. It has become a symbol of the broader fight for justice and transparency in cases of institutional failure. The Johnson family's unwavering determination has brought attention to systemic flaws in how cases like Kendrick's are handled. They have repeatedly emphasized that their fight is not just for their son, but for all families who have faced similar tragedies. Their advocacy has inspired others to question the narratives presented by authorities and to demand accountability when investigations fall short. For the Johnsons, every unanswered question is a reminder of the work that still needs to be done to ensure justice is served. Kendrick Johnson's case remains a haunting example of how unresolved tragedies can ripple through communities and beyond. The chilling details, the missing organs, the newspaper stuffing, the gaps in surveillance footage continue to fuel speculation and distrust. For many, Kendrick's story is not just about one young man's untimely death, but about the broader issues of transparency, systemic bias, and the lengths families must go to uncover the truth. His legacy endures as a call for vigilance and reform in the pursuit of justice. The chilling discovery of Kendrick's body inside the rolled-up mat is a detail that continues to haunt those familiar with the case. Found in an inverted position, his head pointing downward, the official explanation of positional asphyxia seemed plausible at first glance. Yet as more details emerged, such as the missing organs and the unexplained injuries, many began to question whether this was truly an accident or something far more sinister. For Kendrick's family, the inconsistencies were impossible to ignore, fueling their relentless pursuit of answers. The second autopsy commissioned by the Johnson family revealed findings that directly contradicted the original report. The pathologist concluded that Kendrick had died from blunt force trauma, a fact that pointed to possible foul play. This revelation only deepened the mystery and raised questions about why such critical details were overlooked in the initial investigation. For many following the case, it became clear that there were too many unanswered questions for this to be dismissed as a tragic accident. The haunting details of Kendrick Johnson's case have sparked debates that extend far beyond his tragic death. The gaps in the investigation, the missing organs, and the conflicting autopsy results have all contributed to a narrative that many find difficult to accept as mere coincidence or oversight. For Kendrick's parents, these inconsistencies are not just anomalies, they are evidence of a systemic failure to deliver justice. Their fight has become emblematic of the struggles faced by families seeking answers in a system that often seems unyielding and opaque. At the heart of this case lies a painful question. How could so many critical details go unresolved? From the unexplained injuries noted in the second autopsy to the absence of Kendrick's organs, each revelation has added another layer of complexity and suspicion. For those following the case, it is not just about finding closure for one family. It is about addressing the broader issues of accountability and transparency in forensic investigations. Kendrick Johnson's story continues to resonate as a chilling reminder of how easily trust in institutions can be eroded when answers remain elusive. The haunting details of Kendrick Johnson's case have sparked debates that extend far beyond his tragic death. The gaps in the investigation, the missing organs, and the conflicting autopsy results have all contributed to a narrative that many find difficult to accept as mere coincidence or oversight. For Kendrick's parents, these inconsistencies are not just anomalies, they are evidence of a systemic failure to deliver justice. Their fight has become emblematic of the struggles faced by families seeking answers in a system that often seems unyielding and opaque. At the heart of this case lies a painful question. How could so many critical details go unresolved? From the unexplained injuries noted in the second autopsy to the absence of Kendrick's organs, each revelation has added another layer of complexity and suspicion. For those following the case, it is not just about finding closure for one family. It is about addressing the broader issues of accountability and transparency in forensic investigations. Kendrick Johnson's story continues to resonate as a chilling reminder of how easily trust in institutions can be eroded when answers remain elusive. The chilling details surrounding Kendrick Johnson's death have left an indelible mark on his family and the broader community. From the moment his body was discovered, questions have lingered about the circumstances of his death and the handling of the investigation. The removal of Kendrick's organs replaced with newspaper remains one of the most shocking aspects of the case, raising suspicions about negligence or deliberate tampering. For his parents, Jackie and Kenneth Johnson, these inconsistencies are not just procedural errors. They are evidence of a deeper injustice. Over time, Kendrick's story has become a symbol of systemic failures in forensic investigations and institutional accountability. The Johnsons' tireless advocacy has kept the case in the public eye, inspiring others to question narratives presented by authorities. Despite multiple official investigations concluding that Kendrick's death was accidental, the unresolved questions, missing organs, gaps in surveillance footage, and conflicting autopsy results continue to fuel speculation and distrust. For many, Kendrick Johnson's case is not just about one family's tragedy, but about a broader call for reform in how justice is pursued. The reopening of Kendrick Johnson's case in 2021 brought a glimmer of hope to his family and supporters, but it also reignited the pain of unanswered questions. The sheriff's report, which upheld the original conclusion of accidental death, left many feeling disillusioned. For Kendrick's parents, the explanation failed to address the glaring inconsistencies that had haunted them for years. The missing organs, the newspaper stuffing, and the gaps in surveillance footage were not just anomalies. They were symbols of a system they believed had failed their son. As the case continued to stir public debate, it became a focal point for discussions about racial injustice and institutional accountability. Activists highlighted how cases involving marginalized communities often faced neglect or mishandling by authorities. Kendrick's story resonated with families across the country who had experienced similar tragedies, turning his name into a rallying cry for systemic reform. For those who followed the case, it was clear that Kendrick Johnson's death was more than a personal tragedy. It was a call to action for change. The unresolved nature of Kendrick Johnson's case has left a lasting impact on his family, the community, and the nation. Despite multiple investigations and official reports concluding that his death was accidental, the lingering questions continue to fuel distrust and speculation. For many, the chilling details, the missing organs, the newspaper stuffing, and the gaps in surveillance footage are more than just anomalies. They represent systemic failures in forensic investigations and institutional accountability. Kendrick's parents have refused to give up, turning their grief into a relentless pursuit of answers. Beyond the personal tragedy, Kendrick's story has become a symbol of broader issues within the justice system. Activists have pointed to his case as an example of how marginalized communities often face neglect or mishandling by authorities. The Johnson family's advocacy has inspired others to question official narratives and demand transparency in cases involving unexplained deaths. For those who continue to follow Kendrick's case, it remains a stark reminder of the importance of vigilance and reform in the pursuit of justice. The reopening of Kendrick Johnson's case in 2021 reignited hope for justice, but also stirred frustration among his supporters. Sheriff Ashley Polk's 16-page report maintained the original conclusion of an accidental death, describing the incident as a strange accident. While Polk dismissed allegations of foul play and conspiracy, the findings failed to address key inconsistencies that had plagued the case for years. For Kendrick's parents, the report felt like yet another attempt to close the door on a story that still had too many unanswered questions. Despite official conclusions, the Johnson family has continued to challenge the narrative surrounding Kendrick's death. They argue that the removal of his organs, the newspaper stuffing, and gaps in surveillance footage are not coincidences, but evidence of negligence or deliberate tampering. Their fight for justice has become emblematic of broader issues within the justice system, inspiring others to question institutional accountability and demand transparency in cases involving marginalized communities. Kendrick Johnson's case has left a profound impact on the national consciousness, symbolizing the deep fractures in trust between marginalized communities and the justice system. The unresolved questions surrounding his death, paired with the shocking discovery of his missing organs, have turned his story into a rallying cry for reform. For his parents, the fight for answers is not just about their son, but about exposing systemic failures that have allowed similar cases to go unanswered. Their persistence has kept Kendrick's name alive, even as official investigations have repeatedly closed the case. As the years pass, Kendrick's story continues to resonate with those who see it as a stark reminder of the need for accountability and transparency in forensic investigations. The gaps in evidence, conflicting autopsy reports, and unanswered questions have fueled widespread distrust in institutions meant to protect and serve. For many, Kendrick Johnson represents more than just a tragic loss. He is a symbol of the ongoing struggle for justice in a system that often fails those who need it most. The Johnson family's relentless pursuit of justice has ensured that Kendrick's story remains in the public consciousness. Their advocacy has sparked national conversations about systemic failures, racial inequality, and the importance of transparency in forensic investigations. Despite the passage of time, their determination has not wavered. For them, Kendrick's case is more than a personal tragedy. It is a symbol of the broader fight for accountability and reform in a system that often leaves marginalized voices unheard. As the years go by, Kendrick Johnson's name continues to serve as a stark reminder of the work that remains to be done. His story has inspired countless individuals to question authority, demand answers, and push for systemic change. For those who have followed his case, Kendrick represents not just a young life lost, but a call to action, a reminder that justice is not always easily won, but must be fought for relentlessly. Kendrick Johnson's case remains one of the most unsettling and controversial tragedies in recent U.S. history. Despite multiple investigations concluding his death was accidental, the glaring inconsistencies, missing organs, unexplained injuries, and gaps in evidence have left many unconvinced. For Kendrick's family, the fight for answers is far from over. Their unwavering determination has turned their personal tragedy into a broader movement for justice and accountability, ensuring that Kendrick's story continues to resonate with those who demand transparency and reform. As of 2025, over a decade since Kendrick's death, the questions surrounding what truly happened in the Lowndes High School gymnasium remain unanswered. His case serves as a stark reminder of how unresolved tragedies can ripple through communities, leaving lasting scars and fueling calls for systemic change. Kendrick Johnson's legacy is not just one of loss, but of resilience, a testament to the enduring fight for truth in the face of unimaginable grief. Kendrick Johnson's case has become a haunting reminder of how unresolved tragedies can echo through generations. Despite the passage of time, the unanswered questions surrounding his death continue to fuel speculation and distrust. Chilling discovery of his missing organs and the newspaper stuffing have left an indelible mark on public consciousness, symbolizing the systemic failures that many believe contributed to the mishandling of his case. For Kendrick's family, these details are not just anomalies, they are evidence of a deeper injustice. As of 2025, Kendrick Johnson's story remains a powerful call for accountability, transparency, and reform. His parents' relentless fight for answers has inspired others to challenge authority and demand justice in cases shrouded in mystery. Kendrick's legacy is more than just a tragic tale. It is a testament to the enduring struggle for truth and the resilience of those who refuse to let their loved ones be forgotten. His name continues to resonate as a symbol of hope and determination in the face of systemic obstacles.